Okay, hey y'all, and welcome back to Sweet Pea Southern Home. Today I have a sort of new to me recipe, and I have not found anybody online that has done this before, but I'm taking my 14-day pickle recipe and I'm going to use watermelon rind with it. I have tried quite a few watermelon rind pickles, and they are just not what I was looking for. And I was thinking, wow, I love my 14-day pickles, and my cucumbers were just pretty much a failure this year, and I didn't get to make any of my 14-day pickles, and I usually never make enough to last a year anyway. And we've been eating watermelon like crazy, so I had all this watermelon laying around, and I thought, I have all the ingredients. It's not going to really cost me anything except time, so I thought I would give it a try. So here I'm just going to explain to you how you start the 14-day pickles. If you're using cucumbers, it usually takes 20 to 30 depending on the size. But if you can see in the background, you'll see a better picture of it later in the video. But I have a 2-gallon glass crock with a lid. I purchased mine at Walmart. It was less than $20. But you need to use either a crock that's, meant for fermenting, or something glass. And I mean, it could be a huge pickle jar. It doesn't have to be, something super special. So I showed you there just a second ago about the size that I'm cutting these. I'm trying to make them, this is not the final time that they'll be cut. I'm just trying to make them about the size of a pickling cucumber. So all I'm doing here is peeling them with a vegetable peeler. You need to peel all the outside skin off. It's not that difficult. It's just a little time consuming, and you can leave part of the flesh from the inside on, but I trim it mostly off. I wouldn't leave too much of that on because I don't think that will stay very crunchy. So right now I'm working on just getting my jar filled, but what I have in my jar is 1 cup of pickling salt to a half a gallon of water. So, and you don't have to use pickling salt. I just use regular table salt with no iodine. As long as you use a salt that doesn't have iodine, you're fine. So you just want to heat that up, your half a gallon of water and 1 cup of salt until your salt's dissolved. And you can pour that into whatever vessel you're going to use to make your pickles in. So I'm just cutting up this watermelon, and when I get done putting all of it in you can kind of see there how much pink I left on. Some has a little bit more, but I didn't leave, really very much pink on any of it. Right now all I'm doing is getting them cut up into more manageable pieces and into my salt and water mixture. Then I'm going to weight it down. I use a kitchen towel to put over the top of it, and I set the lid on top. This type of container that I'm using doesn't seal tight. If you're using something that seals tight, don't tighten it all the way. It needs to be able to, because this is basically going to ferment for the first 7 days. So on days 1 through 7, all you have to do is this work on the first day. And, if you're using cucumbers, you don't have to peel them. All you need to do is cut the blossom end off and wash them good, chunk them over in there. It's just more time consuming with the watermelon because you do have to peel the outside of the rind. But you want to leave as much of the green part of the middle part, the whitish part. You want to leave as much of that as you can. So I'm eating some of the watermelon that I cut off. But the first 7 days, they just sit in this salt water in a dark, cool room. And you don't have to do anything. So I'm just going to be finishing this up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Okay, here I'm just showing it to you after I've gotten it all in my jar, and you do need to weight it down. I'm just using some glasses to go in there and weight everything, make sure everything is underneath the water, and weight it down, and we'll show you that I put this towel over the top and put the lid on it. It just sits on top, and that's it. Leave it in a dark, cool room for 7 days. I have my watermelon rind right here. I'm going to take my weights out of it. And we're going to drain it, all the water that's in here, into the sink. You can just, we don't need to save this water. Just drain it out. Okay. Now we're going to add 1 tablespoon of alum. Just sprinkle it on top. And 1 tablespoon of horseradish. I know, it sounds weird. Trust the process. 1 tablespoon of horseradish. And we cover with boiling water, which I have over here. Let me go get it. All right, cover your watermelon rind with boiling water. Place your weights back on and put it in a cool, dark place until tomorrow. And tomorrow I will show you day 9. Okay, today is day 9. We are going to rinse and drain and rinse our watermelon rind, and we're going to cut it up into bite-sized pieces. So just however big you want your pieces to be. Right now they're, it's in too big of a piece really to get into jars and be manageable. So just rinse them off, check for any bad spots, and cut them up into small pieces. Then we're going to do the same thing that we did yesterday and bring some water up to a boil. I generally leave mine, once it comes up to a boil, there you can see what size I'm cutting. I cut it off and I leave it for just a few minutes, and you want to cover with the water, put it back in your room until tomorrow. Good morning and welcome to day 10 of our 14-day watermelon rind pickles. They've been in the brine for 7 days. We're on day 10. This is what they've shrunk down to, the watermelon rind. So it's about a colander full. So the reason I say all that is this sounds excessive, and it may be, I don't know. I just cut my syrup recipe in half. So today we're making the syrup for the pickles, and this is we're getting down to finally to the end. It is a lot. It's not a lot of work. It's just a lot of days. So let me turn you around where you can see. And today we are making the, today we're making the syrup that we'll be using for the rest of the recipe. So this is this is 10 cups of sugar. So the full recipe is 20 cups. It's quite a bit. I try to work it out where I don't have a lot of syrup left over because I haven't really thought of a use for it yet. So I just use a lot of pickles, a lot of cucumbers. This may leave me with a lot of leftover syrup. I don't know. But we start out with 10 cups of sugar. I need 3 cups of apple cider vinegar. I have high hopes for these. Okay, and we need 2 cinnamon sticks. And this seasoning, the spices are kind of to your taste. So you could use star anise, you could use a hunk of ginger. There's a lot of things you could put in here. This is just a basic recipe to follow. So 2 cinnamon sticks. One tablespoon of celery seed. And a tablespoon of whole cloves. You know, if you don't like cloves, leave it out. To me, it's like a key flavor. Okay. And we're just gonna simmer this. You wanna keep an eye on it so nothing burns, but we're gonna simmer it till all the sugars dissolve. I'm going to be putting the cucumber rinds, watermelon rinds, get it right. I'm gonna put the watermelon rinds back into my 2-gallon glass jar, and when this is all dissolved, I will pour it over the top. I'm gonna weight it down, make sure nothing is floating. I thought I had a plate that fit inside there, but I don't, so use whatever you need to use to weight it down. And put it in a dark, cool place, and tomorrow I'll be back to show you day 11. Good morning, y'all. Okay, today is day 11 on the pickles, and we're going to be doing the same thing for the next 3 days. So on days 11, 12, and 13, it's all going to be what I'm doing right now. This is where it gets a little messy. Here's our jar with our cucumbers or watermelon rinds, whichever you're using, and I'm just taking my weights out of it, and you just want to rinse those off and set them to the side. And right here I have a pot with a colander on top of it, and we want to dump all the liquid out of here and get it in that pot. If you can dump it without dumping all of the contents out, it makes it a lot easier for you to, it makes it a lot less messy. But no matter what you do, that syrup gets everywhere. Only lost a few pieces. Now we're going to get this pot on the stove and heat it up to boiling. I usually heat mine to just when it's starting to come up to a boil, and I turn it off and leave it for 5 or 10 minutes. You don't necessarily have to pour hot boiling water on these, but it needs to be hot. I mean, you know, I just usually wait a few minutes till I pour it over them. And that's it. So you do that on days 11, 12, and 13. Hey y'all. So we are finally at day 14 on our watermelon rind pickles. And today we're gonna can them up. It's an easy day today. We're finishing up. None of the days are hard. It's just you have to remember to do it. It only takes a couple of minutes. So right back here on the stove, I have dumped everything, the syrup and the watermelon rind, into the pot, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. And I have my jars in the oven heating up. This is an open kettle method, just like I do for my dill pickles. But while we're waiting on that to heat up, I thought I'd turn you around real quick and show you what I harvested today. Okay, we got a pretty big harvest today. I knew that I had been needing to get peppers harvested, so I have a ton of shishitos. If you're looking for a not spicy pepper with a good flavor, shishitos are big producers. And some of my edamame is coming in. Last pickle. This is the last pickle that I'll get until I get my fall pickles planted in another 6 weeks or so. We got some hot peppers, a few jalapenos. This is, no, that's not. I was about to say that's a cayenne, but I don't remember if it is or not, to be honest with you. I think it is a cayenne. I just didn't wait for it to turn all the way. A couple more of the lemon drop peppers. And jalapenos, serranos. We got some banana peppers. Some of my poblanos. I wish they had gotten this one. I've got to trim the bottom of it up, but I wish they had gotten a little bigger. A few of them were turning. This is another one that is kind of hard to tell on camera, but it's got a red tint to it. It was starting to turn, so I went ahead and picked those. I got this is more like the size of the honey nut squash that I've been getting. This size slightly larger. In the last video I showed you that tiny one. Got a few lima beans, and I picked the rest of my tomatoes. Army worms are back. They took a break for a little while, but they're back now. And I'm having a few, I found a few hornworms. I'm sure there are more, I just haven't found. So I just went ahead and harvested anything that was worth harvesting that hadn't been eaten on. And I'll get those in a little bit of sun, and they'll ripen on up in a few days. Got some Thai soldier beans that are coming in, and my regular asparagus beans or yard long beans. I love these. They're my favorite. Denny doesn't care for them, but I love them. So let me get all my other stuff together, and we'll come back and we'll can up this stuff. Okay, I just got my first jar out the oven. It's hot, and you want to can these one at a time. I just fill them up and then top them off with the syrup. I did take the, sometimes you might have to give them a little tap to get, to fit some more in the jar. I'm sorry. I did take the cinnamon sticks out, but I just left the cloves. If you want to pick those out, you can. And I have a little chopstick here. Gonna kind of push them down a little bit so I can fit some more. And we just fill all of our jars. You can fill them to 1/4 of an inch. Just try to make sure that you have them covered with the syrup, and get your lid and ring on right away. Be careful because they're hot. And get them covered up. And so that's how we do it. Leave them on the counter overnight, and after that they're ready to go. So real quick before I finish filling the rest of my jars, I took one out that before it came to a boil, so it wasn't so hot. Sorry. Okay, so I took one out of the syrup before I started filling jars, so it wouldn't be hot. And I thought I would. Hopefully you can hear this, how crunchy they are. They're sweet, a little vinegary. I love them. I do like the cucumbers better, but really, this is good too. And in a pinch, it's a way to use a whole watermelon. My cucumbers, I just never did get enough of them over the summer, which is why I'll be planting fall ones. And I will have a video coming up soon talking about the fall garden and what my plans are. But these are great, and I recommend you giving them a try. So, sorry, trying to swallow. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you give them a try. And I would love it if you would subscribe, and I hope y'all have a blessed day. Bye.